Hey guys, it's Lara here from Back in Shape, and today we are going to be talking all about my journey, months 2 and 3 of pregnancy. Hopefully it will help you a little bit also if you are around that mark, what you can expect to experience perhaps, and also some tips of what I found actually really helped during this time frame. And don't forget, last week we filmed our previous video on what to expect in the first month of pregnancy. If you did miss that one, there'll be a link in the description below, so make sure you check it out after this video. If you did see it, you will know that we are in a very different environment today. We are having some building works at the house done, so lots of drilling going on and far too much noise. So we are out in the garden, so I'm having to deal with the wind, which is okay, but hopefully you guys won't be able to hear that. Right, so let's get into it. So currently I am approaching 6 months of pregnancy, which is crazy because it kind of feels like it's flown by. But if you'd asked me at months 2 and 3, I would have said, my goodness, time is moving so slowly, because I just really wasn't feeling good at all, which we'll get into in this video. I think there is a lot of positivity on the internet about pregnancy, which is fantastic because it truly is a miraculous time. You are growing a life inside of you, which is amazing. However, this video is going to be a little bit more real, a little bit more raw, maybe too much detail here and there, but I think it's important to share exactly what I experienced, because that might be something that you are also coming across through your pregnancy journey. So I think it's important that we kind of relay that information to each other. And on platforms such as this, we've always got the comments. Please do comment in the comment section below. Let me know if you're experiencing anything that I am, or maybe something a little bit different, and let's get into a dialogue. I think it's really important. So in the first trimester, it's pretty amazing, but your little baby is growing from the size of a poppy seed all the way through to the size of a lemon or a fig, which is about 300 times larger. So there is so much going on in your body, all of the changes, all the hormonal changes that you can probably feel. During my pregnancy, I am using an app called Flow, which I was actually using beforehand. It helps you track your periods, your cycles, and that's free. And then when you move on to the pregnancy version, that is a paid for app, but I actually really like it because I might actually pop something on the screen here. They've got really nice images of your baby week by week. So every Friday, Mike and I will log into the app and we'll have a look, because it tells you exactly what is happening with your baby, how it's growing, what it's doing, like all of the new things. So it makes the process really exciting. I know there are loads of apps out there because I've seen them online. That's just the one that I happen to be using beforehand. I do recommend it. It is really fantastic. So just off camera, Mike was just saying, why don't you tell people that it looks like a dinosaur and it transforms into a baby? Maybe not so cute, but in a way, yes, kind of. When the baby is really young, it does look a little different, a little funny, but it does transform into this amazing little baby. So as I mentioned previously, the amount of hormones going through your body, surging around, changing so many things, is a lot. There is a lot happening while you are growing this tiny little fetus in the beginning. So what some of the things that I noticed, the 3 main things that I noticed during months 2 and 3 of pregnancy, was fatigue, nausea, and food aversions. So let's get into that first one, nausea. So with nausea, a lot of people experience morning sickness or just nausea in the mornings. But for me, it was more so a mild grade of nausea throughout the day, which really began to peak and ramp up in the evenings. So the evenings were a really tough part of the day for me. And if any meal were to make me feel sick, it would be dinner. So in a way, I was quite fortunate because I didn't end up throwing up too much during those couple of months. But when I did, it would happen multiple times in one go. I think the worst case scenario was I was sick 4 times, one after the other, after a particular meal, which wasn't very fun. I really enjoy food, so not being able to enjoy it so much was just a little bit of a bummer. And plus, at this stage, you just feel generally fatigued, as we'll get onto it in a little bit, and just a little bit crappy. So the fact that you are throwing up, feeling nauseous all the time, just feeling drained, just doesn't really help. So some of the things that helped me was having ginger biscuits on hand. So ginger biscuits, I've also heard ginger tea, fresh ginger tea, if you slice it up. I didn't try that, but I've heard that that also can really help. Those are little tips that I was using. So the ginger biscuits, also having more frequent meals, because I knew that in the evenings, that's when I would feel my worst. I kind of tried to make sure that I was getting as much in during the day when I was feeling better. So I would eat more frequent, small and frequent meals throughout the day before the evening, and also try to get to bed earlier to kind of just sleep through it in a way. So those are a couple of tips that helped me. So the other thing is, one of the food groups that I could handle was carbohydrates. So I ended up having a lot of bread, a lot of sandwiches, a lot of cheese sandwiches, a lot of toast with butter. That's really what I could handle the most of. So I was very aware that I was having a lot of carbs and probably a lot of sugar, which I wasn't happy about at all. My game plan of being healthy, eating well, having a balanced diet kind of went out the window. But I think it's okay, because you kind of just need to do whatever you can do to get yourself through this period when you are just feeling so sluggish and so terrible. So I just kind of made a mental note, okay, this is how I've eaten in months 2 and 3. And once I start feeling better, then let's really try to cut out the carbs, cut out the sugar, and have a much better, healthy, balanced diet. So the last thing on nausea is you may also wake up in the night. That's quite frequent. You probably need to get up to pee, to use the bathroom. You may also then experience nausea in the middle of the night. And if not nausea, then you might be super, super hungry, especially if you've just been sick with dinner. So ginger biscuits, on your nightstand, that will really help. Water as well. Take loads of water up with you, just because you get really dehydrated, especially if you are being sick. And I can't remember the last one. That was it. So I'd love to hear from you about cravings. I actually didn't have any cravings at this point, but I've seen on the internet, reading through forums, looking on YouTube, that a lot of women actually do experience cravings this early on. In a way, I kind of really wanted to, because I wanted to have one of those weird cravings where you put two foods that you would never think to eat together, and that's what you really crave. But unfortunately, I didn't have any of that. So please let me know in the comments if you're experiencing any cravings, and what's the craziest thing that you have been craving. Okay, so cravings aside, the one thing that I did get is a hell of a lot of food aversions. So I had food aversions to pretty much everything, which actually just made this whole time period, so month 2 and month 3, just a little bit sad, because like I mentioned, I really enjoy food. And one of the things that I wanted to continue eating, because I was eating quite a bit of it beforehand, before pregnancy, was meat. So I wanted to continue having especially red meat, because it's really nutrient dense, it's good for you, it's good for the baby, it's good for your iron levels. But that was one of the main food groups that made me feel really bad. I mean, even the smell of it. Poor Mike had to cook his meals outside in the garden, because even the smell of it just made me feel absolutely god awful. So meat was an absolute no-no. Other things that just kind of drove my system a little bit crazy was anything like tomato saucy, if that's even a word. And I don't know whether it was because of the acidity. So tomato sauce, or anything like a bolognese, a chili, things that I absolutely love normally, they would just really upset me. So I couldn't do that at all. What else was there? Onions, things that are quite harsh on the stomach. Onions, garlics, pretty much most foods, because like I said, the things that I could eat and tolerate were breads, awful I know, breads, sandwiches, toast, and fruit. So those were the things that I could tolerate, and everything else was just making me feel not so good. The other thing was water. I mean, would you believe you're supposed to keep really hydrated, because you might be throwing up, you're going to the bathroom more. You need to drink lots of water when you are pregnant. And the one thing that I really started to not like the taste of was water. And I think I have seen somewhere on the internet that you can get like a metallic-y taste in your mouth. I can't remember why that was. I can't remember why that was, number one. Number two, I didn't have that metallic taste, but I just started to not enjoy the taste of water. And I wonder whether maybe that's got something to do with it. But so I tried different things. I tried water with squash, and I don't really like squash anyway. But I didn't like that. That really upset my stomach. I think it's like the sugariness of the the intense sugariness of the squash. Just absolute no-go. What else did I try? I tried having a pint of water and adding a splash of orange juice, diluted orange juice. Oh, that was awful. The only thing that did work, right? What did work? Getting a fresh lemon, cutting in half, freshly squeezed into a large glass of water. So the ratio was, it was still very, it was diluted a lot. So that actually made water tolerable for me. So I was having water with lemon juice, and when I would go up to bed at night, that's what I would take with me. So not just normal water, a little bit of lemon juice with my ginger biscuits, and then I would be okay. Okay, so that's kind of the food aversions bit wrapped up. We're gonna move on to the fatigue. So the fatigue was that I experienced was pretty unreal. I don't think I've ever been so tired in my life. I usually am very upbeat. I've got lots of energy, and this, it just kind of KO'd me. I would sleep for 11, 12 hours a day. So at night, I would probably sleep 10 to 11 hours, and then I would have a nap. So after sleeping for so many hours in the middle of the night, waking up to go to the bathroom, etc., have a snack, I'd also need an afternoon nap because I was just completely zapped of all energy, which I was just really surprised about. So during this time frame, I actually felt, and it's quite bad, but I felt quite useless. You know, I was still working. I still needed to get on with things, crack on, but I just felt like I just couldn't bring my all to things that I was working on and the project. So yes, I would work through everything to the best of my ability, but I think at this point in time, so those months 2 and 3, you just need to be really kind to yourself, and it's okay if you can't do as much as you were. Your body is just doing so much, and although you can't really see it and you can't really feel it, you can tell with all the other symptoms that are going on. So just be really kind to yourself if you are experiencing something similar, and just know that it's okay. And also, it does get better. Because of how bad I was feeling, I remember having a chat with Mike and just thinking back kind of pre-COVID to ladies that I would see commuting in London. So on the Underground, pregnant, or maybe you couldn't see their bum, but they had their pregnancy badge, so they would have been quite early on, you know, standing up, commuting, going to work all day, commuting back, and just thinking, my goodness, how did these women do it? They are absolute superheroes. I guess the worst part of it is the fact that you are so early on, you tend to not be showing that much at that stage. So in a way, when you have a big bump, you can kind of be like, I have an excuse, I'm pregnant. Whereas when you pretty much still got a flat stomach, it's like, you know, what's the matter with you? Like, why are you so sluggish? Why are you sleeping all the time? So you just kind of need to explain to people. But those who are closest to you, they will know obviously that you are pregnant, so it's absolutely fine. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about goes kind of hand in hand with the fatigue, was the fact that at this stage I was not doing any workouts. I couldn't do any workouts. I was sleeping all the time, food aversions, I felt nauseous, I was being sick. Oh, I literally had absolutely no energy, as much as I really wanted to work out, because they recommend that you work out during pregnancy. You should be getting out. You should be being active. I mean, I could probably count the amount of times I went for a walk on my hand. That is really how drained I was. So absolutely no workouts. But again, similar to my food intake, I just knew once I start feeling better, I must start working out. So really pleased, last month I did a challenge and I managed to work out all month long. And I'm going to be joining a gym this week because my energy levels have absolutely come back, which is awesome. So I'm feeling much, much better. So just to kind of wrap up on a positive note, it does get better. Awesome, guys. So that was our second episode of our YouTube channel. If you've got any questions, any comments, if you want me to cover any other topics, I've actually got loads of ideas in mind of other videos to shoot for you guys, including bits about prams, baby seats, car seats, things that Mike and I are looking into at the moment, and as well as coming very soon, our live pregnancy workouts, which I am so excited for. So make sure that you stick around, follow the channel, and again, any questions, pop them below, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.